The Michael Berry Show.
John Campbell, you're on the Michael Berry Show. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Michael, love your shows, and I know it's early, but I want to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday, Easter, and the Good Friday. And we're up here in the Cedar up here, so Burnet, Texas.
Who's that in the background?
That's my wife, Charlotte.
Charla?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. How long have you been how long have you been with, like Charlotte's Web?
Yes. It's spelled with an F.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. How long have you been with Charlotte with an S?
We've been married 22 years.
Almost 23.
We went to high school here in Barnet, didn't know each other, and graduated a year apart. And I met her about 35 years later. She was taking care of my dad. He was an Alzheimer's patient. And that led to us going out and eventually got married.
And where'd y'all go out first time?
I went to Chili's and the first date went to Chili's in Marble Falls. And
what did you have?
one of the best decisions I ever made.
Sounds like it. Sounds like she's running the roost.
Well, yeah. A nurse, you don't argue with them.
No, it comes in handy.
Oh, yeah. She saved my life more times than I can count.
I can imagine. Did you have breakfast?
Yes, sir.
What'd you have?
I had 2 scrambled eggs, link sausage, 4-piece toast with plum jelly.
How about some coffee to wash it down?
Coffee. I'm doing coffee. Last mug now.
Did she make all that for you?
No, sir. I did it.
You did it yourself?
I'm kind of independent.
Okay. How about any juice? Grapefruit juice?
No, I haven't had any of that yet.
Y'all got any dogs in there with you?
Yes, sir. Got 3 of them.
What you got? What are their names?
Lacey and Wingy Dog Max and we got Chihuahua.
What's the Chihuahua's name?
Lost one.
What's the Chihuahua's name?
Chihuahua. Her name is Bella.
And then your wife said y'all got a cat in there too.
Yeah. His name is Pepper. And he's a handful.
Did you forget Pepper's name?
Sir?
Did you forget Pepper's name?
Yeah, I like to forget Pepper altogether, but that's not possible.
That's not.
My wife is a cat lover.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but I had been transformed over to accepting cats.
Yeah, you don't strike me that you love the cat, but more that you just sort of accept the cat.
I accept the cat.
Yeah. And what's on the agenda today, John?
We got to do some walking. I just had a heart surgery procedure, and still got one more to go in several weeks.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
Yeah. Well, I did arterial valve first.
Valve replacement.
And then next is I've got a 70% blockage in one of my vein arteries, and they're going to have to go up and put a stent. So.
Did they already put one stent from the first procedure?
No, sir. They just did that valve.
Oh, they just did the valve. Okay, so you're having 2 procedures?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have it done there in
Right.
Burnett, or where do you have it done?
No, we're in Round Rock at Baylor Scott White.
Is that where you are right now?
That's where. No, but that's where I get my care done.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We live here in Burnett.
And have you always lived there?
Yeah, we both grew up here, and then I went to the Rio Grande Valley, made that mistake, and I came back up here and went to work in Austin.
Doing
I
what?
drove Redneck trucks. I drove Redneck trucks all my life.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I worked down there in the 80s in Austin, and then got laid off, so I migrated back up here and went to work. I would go 3 or 4 concrete companies up here. It's, it's work and it's hard. But
Yeah, I would
it's
imagine.
work.
Do you come home dusty?
Oh, yeah.
I had
Wash those clothes like old people do.
Yeah.
They'd wash them.
Yeah.
Wash tears.
John, I had a guy called, he worked at a gravel pit, and when he would come home, his wife wouldn't let him in the house because he'd bring dust in the house, so he would be out back of the house, and she'd come out, he'd take all his clothes off, and she'd wash him down.
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
That's people take for granted, that's a hard life. I worked during the summers when I was in college. I worked at a carbon black plant in Orange, J.M. Huber, and when I'd come home, I'd have that. It was like tar on you, and it was thick. And I would come home, and you had to have what's that orange soap you'd have to use and just rub on yourself.
Wild.
Yep. And so what I did, yes, and my mother, just put an old sheet on the bed, and I would just sleep on that because otherwise you'd ruin everything. And I thought, I'm just doing this for a summer gig to make some quick money. People live like this. People among us, you see somebody at the grocery store, they're living this life. That's a tough, tough life. Well, John, I'm glad you called. I wish you the best.
This is The Michael Berry Show. Enjoy it.
Best email of the month so far from Jeff Stevens. Now, mind you, when he says Charlotte with an S, he spells it Charlotte with a C the way it's supposed to be, and then he spells out with an S, okay? Can I get some real light music to go under this? This is the best email in a while. This sounds like me and my buddies talking about what we talked about on the air that day, but he's put it in an email without knowing me. Subject: John and Charlotte with an S call this morning. I was wiping tears from laughing on my drive to work this morning listening to John's call. His wife loved and respected him enough to let him take the lead on the call, but from the first time she interjected in the background, you could tell that although she was used to John's John miles an hour delivery, she was poised on the edge of her seat, chomping at the bit to correct and or add her 2 cents in. When it came time for the cat's name, it got even more hilarious. I think we've all known and sometimes loved a Charlotte with an S in our lives. They have more words to get out than there are seconds in a day. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Some people just have an innate need to speak, and you could also tell Charlotte with an S was very used to running John's affairs as much as he'll let her. I pictured them at the doctor with John plodding along, answering questions, and her correcting and interjecting and giving the doctor exasperated looks, and I laughed even harder. That is one of the best descriptions ever. John's John miles an hour delivery. That is such a brilliant turn of phrase. This poor guy is probably in collections or accounts receivable all day, his amazing creativity stifled, and reading the great books on his lunch break while he eats an apple. And his friend and his colleagues think he's the weirdest dude ever, but he's not. I mean, in a sense, he is, but in a glorious, beautiful way. Listen to this line again. This is just an email to the show. He has no idea I'm even going to read it. His wife loved and respected him enough to let him take the lead on the call. But from the first time she interjected in the background, you could tell that, although she was used to John miles an hour delivery, she was poised on the edge of her seat, chomping at the bit to correct and or add her 2 cents in. That's literature. I might frame that. That's one of my favorite emails. Although she was used to John's, and these are all hyphenated, John miles an hour delivery. That's the speed in which he speaks. John miles an hour. That is just, I cannot tell you enough. I love it.
The Michael Berry Show.